Humans are such delicate beings, Vexora mused, her 6 eyes blinking in quick succession as she studied the containment chamber. Both in body and mind. Commander Traz exhaled in agreement, the shimmer of his translucent skin rippling with quiet amusement. Indeed, a mere touch and they tear apart so easily, and their thoughts shift wildly at the smallest nudge, hardly efficient for a species claiming dominance. For nearly 3 lunar cycles, the research vessel Cosmic Inquiry had remained in Earth's orbit. What began as a simple observation mission had now begun to evolve into something far more intriguing when the High Council sanctioned the capture of 5 human specimens for study. Each was placed in an individual containment unit, crafted to replicate their native environment while permitting full surveillance. Subject 4 is producing that water leak response again? Noted junior researcher Plex, gesturing with a tentacle toward one of the monitors. Vexora drifted across the control deck to examine. Subject 4, identified as Eliza Morgan in Earth, records, sat curled in a corner of her enclosure, clear liquid streaming from her ocular organs. Fascinating, Vexora murmured. 3rd instance this cycle, logged in the emotional response database. Already recorded, Plex replied, entering commands into the neural interface, classified under sadness, or perhaps grief. Though I must admit, Commander, I cannot grasp the evolutionary benefit of such a reaction. Commander Traz approached, his tall, willowy frame casting a shadow over the other researchers. There is none. Clearly, these emotional displays are remnants from a more primitive stage of their species. The liquid secretion offers no functional value. Perhaps it's a social signal, Plex suggested. An absurdly inefficient one, TR scoffed. Our pheromonal exchange is instantaneous and exact. This is merely a waste of bodily fluids. Vexora magnified the feed, focusing on Eliza's face. The human female appeared to be roughly 30 Earth years in age, with skin resembling the hue of her planet's soil and head tendrils, hair they called it, cropped close to her scalp. She had been chosen for her apparent physical resilience and mental sharpness. I recommend initiating a direct interaction session, Vexora declared abruptly, and Praz's skin shimmered with surprise. So soon? Protocol recommends at least 2 additional cycles of passive observation before sufficient baseline data is acquired. Vexora cut in. I'm particularly intrigued by these emotional responses. Their frequency and variation make observation alone inadequate for forming consistent patterns. After a brief pause, Traz inclined his head. Very well. Prepare the translation matrices and ready the interaction chamber. But remember, Senior Researcher Vexora, these beings are unpredictable. Proceed with caution. Naturally, Commander, Vexora replied, concealing her growing excitement. This was the very reason she had joined the Galactic Research Fleet, to explore the universe's strangest anomalies, and humans, with their contradictions and inexplicable rituals, were among the most perplexing she had ever encountered. The interaction chamber was a neutral environment, crafted to calm subjects while preserving strict security protocols. Introduce Eliza Morgan, Subject 4. The chamber had been constructed to mimic standard human living quarters, with furnishings, scaled to their proportions and lighting tuned to their visual spectrum. Eliza Morgan stepped inside cautiously, her gaze flicking about as if assessing for threats or possible escape routes. From behind the one-way viewing membrane, Vexora noted the human's accelerated breathing and widened pupils. Your reaction, she dictated for the record. Despite no provocation. Captivity alone is provocation enough, Plex remarked, standing beside her for the session. Even the non-sentient specimens we've examined show stress behaviors under confinement. Vexora engaged the translator and addressed her through the comm system. Greetings, Eliza Morgan. Please be seated. We wish to converse with you. The human recoiled at the sound, but obeyed, settling on the chair's edge. Who are you? Why am I here? Where are the others? So many. Questions, Vexora murmured to Plex before turning back to the human. I am Senior Researcher Vexora of the Galactic Research Fleet. You are aboard our vessel for observation and study. The other human specimens remain secure in their respective quarters. Specimens? Eliza's tone spiked sharply. We are not specimens. We're people. You can't just abduct us and... Your safety and comfort are prioritized, Vexora cut in, finding the raised volume unnecessary. This is a scientific expedition only. You will be returned to your world once our research is complete. And when will that be? Eliza pressed. Approximately 7 of your Earth months, Vexora replied evenly. The effect was instant and fascinating. Eliza's features twisted, her skin flushing with increased blood flow. She rose abruptly, fists clenched in what Vexora recognized as a threatening stance. 7 months? 7 months? You can't keep me here that long. I have a life, a job, people, looking for me. Your absence has been addressed, Vexora explained coolly. A simulacrum now occupies your place. Your associates will perceive no difference. Rather than soothing, the statement seemed to inflame her further. Eliza began pacing, her breathing accelerating. A fake me? You replaced me with some alien copy? This is madness. This is kidnapping. This is science, Vexora stated firmly, and your cooperation, while appreciated, is not strictly necessary. Plex shifted uncomfortably beside her, perhaps a different approach. The subject appears distressed, obviously, Vexora replied. That's precisely what I'm studying. These emotional fluctuations are remarkably rapid. Eliza stopped pacing and stared directly at where Vegora and Plex stood, though the one-way membrane should have made that impossible. It was unnerving, as if the human could somehow sense their presence. I know you are watching me, Eliza said, her voice suddenly calm. And I want you to listen carefully. Humans don't respond. First interaction between Eliza and the aliens, well to being caged. Whatever you think you know about us, you are missing something fundamental. We don't just roll over and accept situations like this. Paul Vexora recorded. The statement with interest-threatening behavior noted, though what a physically inferior species hopes to accomplish against our technology is puzzling. Should we sedate her? Asked Plex. Not yet. I want to see where this goes. Eliza was now standing perfectly still, a posture that their research indicated signified determination in humans. I want to speak to whoever's in charge, not just some researcher, your commander, captain, whatever you call them. Vexora consulted the protocol manual through her neural link. There was no explicit prohibition against such a request. In fact, varied interaction patterns were encouraged to stimulate different responses. Very well, she decided, Commander Traz will join our next session. For now, do you require nutrition or rest? Eliza's shoulders slumped slightly, but her gaze remained intense. What I require is my freedom, but since that's apparently not on the menu, I will take some food and information. I want to know about you, your species, why you are really here. And I want to see the others you have taken. Interesting demands, Vexora noted to Plex. The human attempts to establish control through information exchange. Should we comply? Plex asked. Vexora considered partially. Food will be provided if basic information about our research mission is permissible. Contact with other specimens will be considered at a later date. She relayed this to Eliza, who responded with a short, harsh sound. What their research identified as a laugh, though. It contained no apparent mirth. You know what's funny? Eliza said. You think you are studying me, but I'm studying you right back. And so far, I'm not impressed. For advanced aliens, you're making some pretty basic mistakes. Elaborate, Vexora prompted, genuinely curious. You have taken me from my home, my family, my entire life, and replaced me with some copy, then expect me to just calmly answer your questions. That's not how sentient beings work. Every moment I'm here, I'm thinking about escape, about fighting back, about surviving. You are not getting authentic responses, you are getting survival behavior. Vexora recorded this with great interest. Survival behavior versus authentic response, a distinction worth exploring. But Eliza sighed heavily. And that's exactly what, you are recording my explanation of why your research is flawed as more research. You are missing the point entirely. Which is, Vexora asked, that emotions aren't just some curious evolutionary leftover. They are central to who we are as humans. They drive everything we do. And right now, mine are telling me that you have no idea what you have gotten yourselves into. With that cryptic statement, Eliza returned to her seat and fell silent, refusing to respond to further questions. Remarkably, stubborn creatures. Commander Traz remarked the following cycle as the research team reviewed the interaction recordings. Though I must admit, this particular specimen shows greater cognitive complexity than anticipated, Vexora had spent the rest period analyzing Eliza's statements. Commander, I believe we should consider her suggestion to allow interaction between the human specimens. Their social nature means isolated responses may not represent typical behavior patterns. Parzi's skin darkened with disapproval at present security concerns. 5 humans together could potentially coordinate some form of resistance. Resistance Plex made a dismissive gesture against our technology. What could they possibly do? It's not about capability, Vexora explained. Surprised. Emotions aren't vestigial. They're central to who we are, find herself defending the human's perspective. It's about psychological state. Going about it all wrong. They keep treating emotions like some strange quirk, not realizing it's the core of everything. You have talked to them more than I have. Marcus said, what are they like analytical detached? They look at me crying like it's some weird bodily function. They can't figure out the purpose of. I don't think they have emotions the way we do. Ridiculous, Trajoft. Of course we have emotional analogies. They are simply regulated and purposeful. Not these wild, uncontrolled surges. Vexora kept her attention on the humans. There was something in Eliza's tone now, a resolve that hadn't been present before. We need to make them understand, Eliza was saying. Not just for our sake, but for whoever comes after us. Because if they keep taking people like this eventually, they are going to take someone who doesn't just get sad or scared. They are going to take someone who gets angry, really angry. Marcus studied her face. You have a plan. It wasn't a question, and Eliza didn't treat it as one. She simply nodded, then glanced directly at the observation wall with an expression Vexora couldn't quite interpret. Yeah, Eliza said softly. I've a plan because there's something they need to learn about humans. Something important. What's that? Asked Marcus. Eliza's lips curved upward, but the expression wasn't what their research classified as a smile. It was something else, something that for reasons Vora couldn't articulate, sent an uncomfortable sensation rippling through her neural pathways, that we are not just emotional, Eliza said, still staring toward the hidden observers. We are dangerous when pushed too far, and they have been pushing since the moment they took us from our homes. Vexora felt an unexpected chill as she recorded this statement. For the first time since the humans had been brought aboard, she wondered if perhaps Commander Traz's caution wasn't unwarranted after all. In the communal chamber, Eliza continued to stare toward them with that not-quite smile, as if she could see through the one-way membrane, as if she knew exactly what they were thinking, and for one irrational moment, Vexora almost believed she could. The next 3 cycles passed with remarkable quietude. Eliza Morgan exhibited what Vexora classified as cooperative behavior answering. questions without resistance, and participating willingly in cognitive. The beginning of Eliza's plan assessments. Subject 2. Marcus showed similar compliance. Commander TR was pleased with the development. C. The communal interaction was beneficial. Here marked during the daily research review, they have accepted their situation. Vexora wasn't convinced. The shift seems abrupt, particularly for Subject 4. Adaptation is a survival trait. Traz replied dismissively, "These humans may be emotionally volatile, but they are not stupid. They have recognized the futility of resistance." Perhaps Vexora conceded, though something in her neural pathways tingled with unease. She replayed the footage from the previous cycle's observation session. Eliza had been almost pleasant, asking questions about alien physiology and technology with apparent curiosity. Nothing in her biometric readings indicated deception, and yet request permission to initiate a new testing protocol? Vexora said suddenly. Traz's sensory appendages twitched with surprise. "What do you propose?" "A controlled emotional provocation sequence. Subject 4 claimed that our current methods are only eliciting survival behaviors, not authentic responses. I believe we need to push beyond baseline parameters." Interesting, Tress mused, but risky. "What specific provocations do you suggest?" Vexora had given this considerable thought. "A simulated threat to Subject 2, nothing that causes actual harm, but enough to trigger Subject 4's protective instincts. You believe she's formed an attachment to the male. Their social bonding was immediate and pronounced." Vexora confirmed. "Humans form alliances quickly, under stress. I want to observe how far that loyalty extends." Traz considered this, his translucent skin rippling with deliberation. "Approved. But with safety protocols at maximum, these creatures are unpredictable." The provocation test was scheduled for the following cycle. Eliza and Marcus were brought to the communal chamber. Ashad become routine, but this time the scenario was carefully scripted. "Good morning, Eliza." Marcus Vzora greeted through the communication system. "Today, we would like to explore human stress responses in more detail." "You want to hurt us?" Eliza asked, her voice remarkably steady. "Not you," Vexora clarified. "In this session, you will observe while we conduct pain threshold testing on Subject 2. Marcus stiffened, but Eliza's hand on his arm seemed to steady him. Their silent communication was fascinating, a complex exchange conveyed through touch and eye contact. "That wasn't part of the deal," Eliza said calmly. Vexora noted the phrasing with interest. "There was no deal, Subject 4. You are research specimens. My name is Eliza," she replied, the same unnervingly calm tone. "And yesterday you agreed that cooperation would be rewarded with humane treatment." "This is humane by research standards," Vexora countered. "No permanent damage will occur." Turned from his observation position, Commander Traz leaned forward. The provocation test goes wrong, his attention fully captured by the exchange. "She's maintaining control remarkably well," he noted. "Not the emotional outburst I expected." "Wait for it," Vexora murmured. On cue, 2 medical drones entered the chamber, hovering toward Marcus with examination probes extended. Marcus backed away, looking to Eliza, who had not moved from her position. "Eliza," there was uncertainty in his voice. "It's okay, Marcus," she said softly. "Remember what we talked about showing them the cryptic statement triggered warning signals in Vexora's analytical processes. Initiate restraint protocol," she ordered quickly. Too late as the drones approached. Marcus. Eliza moved with startling speed. She didn't attack the drones as expected. Instead, she dropped to the floor and removed a floor panel that should have been securely sealed. "Security breach!" Trash shouted. "How did she?" Eliza reached into the exposed circuitry and pulled. Alarms blared throughout the observation deck as the ship's systems registered the interference. "Impossible," Plex gasped. She couldn't have mapped the neural circuitry of the ship, but somehow she had. The containment field around the communal chamber flickered and died. The medical drones dropped to the floor. Deactivated emergency containment TR ordered lockdown all sectors. Vexora watched in stunned fascination as Eliza helped Marcus remove another floor panel. Commander, how could they have gained this knowledge of our systems known? But they won't get far. The secondary containment protocols. A ship-wide power fluctuation interrupted him. The lights dimmed, momentarily before emergency systems engaged. What's happening? Demanded Vexora accessed the ship's diagnostic system, her neural pathways flooding with alarm as she processed the information. Sir, it appears that another alarm sounded, this one more urgent. On the main viewing screen, they could see Eliza and Marcus running down a corridor that should have been sealed. Track them. Traz commanded all security drones deploy. Commander Vexora said, her voice unnaturally quiet as the realization dawned on her. The other 3 human specimens, their containment fields are down. Traz's skin went pale. All of them. How it appears Subject 4's interference with the neural circuitry created a cascading failure in the containment system. But that's impossible. Without intimate knowledge of our technology, even with their observed intelligence, they couldn't have. Sir, interrupted Plex, who had been monitoring the security feeds. The humans they are not attempting to escape. What Traz and Vexora asked simultaneously. They are moving deeper into the ship toward the central research database. Vexora felt a cold sensation spreading system breach, and the humans take control through her neural network. But she planned this from the beginning. Treadledon, her explain. The emotional displays, the compliance, even the apparent bonding with Subject 2. It was all calculated. Vexora's mind raced through the evidence. Remember what she said about emotions driving everything humans do? We thought she was just explaining. She was warning us. On the security feed they watched as all 5 humans converged near the central database access point. Eliza appeared to be giving instructions, pointing to different sections of the corridor. The other humans nodded and dispersed. To various access panels, stop them, Traz roared. Full security protocol authorization, TR Alpha 7. Security drones swarmed toward the humans' position, but with astonishing coordination, the humans evaded them, ducking into maintenance shafts and service, corridors that weren't even on the main navigation systems. How do they know the ship's layout? Flex whispered. Horrified, Vexora's mind flashed back to her conversations with Eliza. The questions about alien physiology and technology, the seemingly innocent. Inquiries about how different ship systems functioned, the careful attention paid to every word Vexora had spoken. She extracted information from us. Vexora realized every interaction was an intelligence-gathering operation. Commander Traz was already moving toward the door. We need to reach the central core before they do whatever they are planning. The ship lurched, suddenly knocking them off balance as the artificial gravity fluctuated. Emergency lighting bathed the room in pulsing blue. What? Now? Tress demanded. Plex's appendages flew over the control interface. Sir, the propulsion system is going offline. We are dropping out of orbit. Override it. I can't. The command protocols aren't responding on the main screen. The security feed showed Eliza standing before the central database terminal, her fingers dancing across the interface with impossible familiarity. The other humans were positioned at various points around her, each accessing different systems. How is she accessing? Our technology, Traz bellowed. It requires specific neural path.